My cheating ex got served, Atlanta style, nail polish. I thought we happy. I really did. 17 years of marriage. 2 kids. A life we built together from nothing. We started with a studio apartment and secondhand furniture. We worked our way up. Together. Or so I thought. The call came on a Tuesday. I was at work, middle of a budget meeting, when my phone lit up with her name. Hey babe, can I call you back? I'm in the middle of dash, pack your things. I stopped mid-sentence. What? You heard me, Marcus. Pack your things and get out of my house. My house. Not our house. My house. I stood up, excused myself from the meeting, walked into the hallway. My heart was pounding. Simone, what are you talking about? What's going on? My uncle died. I knew that. Her uncle Raymond. We'd just been to the funeral 3 days ago. Sad, but he was 92. It wasn't unexpected. I know, baby. I'm sorry. I know you're grieving, but dash, he left me everything. I paused. Everything. Everything. The properties. The investments. The offshore accounts. $43 million, Marcus. 43 million. My legs went weak. I leaned against the wall. That's incredible, Simone. Oh my God. We're dash no. The word hit me like a slap. What? Not we. Me. It's mine. The lawyer made it very clear. Uncle Raymond left everything to me specifically. In a trust. Protected from any marital claims. I laughed. Actually laughed. Because surely she was joking. Okay. So legally it's yours. I get that. But baby, we're married. We're partners. This is amazing for our family. For the kids dash, I want a divorce. The hallway tilted. You want a what? You have until 6 o'clock tonight to get your things and leave. I've already contacted a lawyer. The papers will be filed tomorrow. I couldn't breathe. Simone, where is this coming from? Last night we were fine. We watched a movie. You fell asleep on my shoulder. What the hell is happening? What's happening is I finally have options. Her voice was cold. Detached. Like she was reading from a script. Options? What does that mean? It means I don't need you anymore, Marcus. I haven't needed you for a long time. But I was stuck. We had kids. I didn't have my own money. I couldn't just leave. My chest tightened. Stuck? You felt stuck with me. Don't act surprised. You've been a mediocre husband for years. Mediocre father. You do the bare minimum and expect praise for it. I felt like I'd been punched. Mediocre? I've worked my ass off for this family. I've been here. Every recital, every game, every parent-teacher conference dash, because that's what you're supposed to do. That doesn't make you special. I love you. I love our kids. I thought you loved me. She laughed. Actually laughed. I settled for you, Marcus. And now I don't have to anymore. 6 o'clock. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. She hung up. I stood there in that hallway for I don't know how long. People walked past me. Someone asked if I was okay. I don't remember what I said. I drove home in a daze. When I pulled into the driveway, her car was there. So it was another car I didn't recognize. A black Mercedes. I walked inside. Simone was in the living room with a man I'd never seen before. Tall, expensive suit, slicked back hair. He was holding a leather briefcase. Marcus, this is Gerald. My attorney. Gerald extended his hand. I didn't take it. Your attorney? You've had him on speed dial for what, 3 days? Simone crossed her arms. I called him yesterday. Right after I met with Uncle Raymond's estate lawyer. Yesterday. You've been planning this since yesterday, and you didn't say a word to me. I'm saying it now. Gerald has the separation agreement here. You'll get what's legally required. Nothing more. I looked at this stranger in my living room. In the house I'd helped pay for. The house where we'd brought our babies home from the hospital. This is insane. You can't just kick me out. Gerald cleared his throat. Actually, Mr. Hayes, the house is in your wife's name. She has every legal right to ask you to leave. My blood ran cold. Since when? Simone smiled. Since I refinanced 2 years ago. You signed the papers. Remember? I did remember. She'd said it was for a better interest rate. I'd trusted her. You've been planning this for 2 years? No, but I've been smart. Which is more than I can say for you. The disrespect in her voice. The cruelty. I didn't recognize this woman. What about the kids? You're just going to rip their father out of their lives. They're at my mother's. They'll adjust. They'll adjust? Simone, they love me. I'm their dad. And you'll still see them. Every other weekend. Supervised at first, until we establish a routine. Supervised. Like I was a danger to my own children. I looked at Gerald. This is what you do? Help people destroy families for a paycheck. He didn't blink. I help my clients protect their assets and their futures. I turned back to Simone. Is there someone else? She hesitated. Just for a second. That's when I knew. There is. You're already seeing someone. That's none of your business. None of my business? We're still married. Not for long. I felt rage building in my chest. But under that, something worse. Heartbreak. How long? Marcus Dash, how long have you been cheating on me? She sighed like I was inconveniencing her. 8 months. 8 months. I'd suspected nothing. Not once. Who is he? It doesn't matter. It matters to me. She looked me dead in the eye. Terrence. My stomach dropped. Terrence? Your business partner, Terrence. Former business partner. He sold his share of the company last month. We're relocating. Relocating where? Miami. Miami. She'd been to Miami twice in the last 8 months for business conferences. I'd stayed home with the kids. The pieces clicked together. The late-night phone calls she'd taken the other room. The new lingerie I'd thought was for me. The sudden interest in working out, new hairstyles, expensive perfume. All of it for him. You've been planning this whole life without me, and I had no idea. Because you don't pay attention, Marcus. You never have. I wanted to scream. To throw something. To make her feel even a fraction of what I was feeling. But I didn't. I just stood there. Gerald pulled papers from his briefcase. If you'll just sign here, we can expedite this process. You'll receive your portion of the marital assets within Dash. I'm not signing anything. Simone's face hardened. You don't have a choice. I have every choice. You want a divorce? Fine. But I'm getting a lawyer. A good one. And we're going to do this the right way. There is no fight here, Marcus. The money is mine. The house is mine. You have no leverage. I have 17 years. I have 2 kids who deserve better than this. And I have proof that you've been committing adultery. Her eyes narrowed. Proof? I didn't have proof. Not yet. But I'd get it. You really think you've covered your tracks that well? 8 months of sneaking around? There's always a trail, Simone. For the first time, she looked uncertain. Good. I turned to Gerald. Tell your client I'll see her in court. I walked upstairs, packed a bag, and left. I stayed at my brother's place that night. Didn't sleep. Just sat there replaying every moment of the last year, looking for signs I'd missed. They were everywhere. The next morning, I called 3 divorce lawyers. The third one, a woman named Patricia Chin, agreed to see me that afternoon. I showed up to her office with printouts of our bank statements, mortgage documents, everything I could think of. She listened to my story without interrupting. When I finished, she leaned back in her chair. Here's the reality, Marcus. Georgia is an equitable distribution state. That inheritance is separate property. You have no claim to it. My heart sank. But I looked up. The house was purchased during the marriage with marital funds. Even though she refinanced in her name, you still have an equitable interest. And if she's been using marital funds to support her affair dinners, hotels, gifts, that's dissipation of marital assets. We can pursue that. What about the kids? You're their father. You have rights. Supervised visitation is absurd unless there's evidence of neglect or abuse. We'll fight that immediately. For the first time in 24 hours, I felt like I could breathe. What do I need to do? Get me everything. Phone records, credit card statements, social media, emails. Anything that documents her relationship with this Terrence person and when it started. I nodded. And Marcus? Don't contact her directly. Don't text, don't call, don't show up at the house. Everything goes through me now. I spent the next week digging. I pulled our cell phone records. Hundreds of calls and texts between Simone and a number I didn't recognize. The volume increased dramatically 6 months ago. I checked our credit card statements. Charges at expensive restaurants I'd never been to. A hotel in Buckhead 3 separate times. Lingerie purchases from a boutique downtown. I found emails. She'd been sloppy. She'd used our shared laptop. I knew her password because we'd always had an open device policy. Apparently, that policy only went one way. The emails to Terrence started casual. Work stuff at first. Then flirty. Then explicit. I read things I'll never be able to unread. Her describing what she wanted to do to him. Him calling her baby and my future wife. Plans to move to Miami. Plans to buy a penthouse. Plans that involved my children living with this man I'd never even met. The one that broke me was dated 2 months ago. I can't wait until Raymond dies and we can finally be free. Marcus will be devastated, but honestly he'll be fine. He's not the type to make waves. We'll give him his crumbs and move on with our lives. Crumbs. 17 years and I was worth crumbs to her. I forwarded everything to Patricia. She called me the next day. This is good, Marcus. Really good. We're going to file a motion for temporary custody and request an emergency hearing. With this evidence of her affair and plans to relocate the children out of state without your consent, we have grounds. The hearing was set for 2 weeks out. In the meantime, Simone kept calling. I didn't answer. She started texting. You're being childish. The kids are asking about you. If you cared about them, you'd make this easy. I didn't respond. Then she tried a different approach. I'm sorry. I know I hurt you. Can we talk? Maybe we can work this out. Too late. Way too late. The day of the hearing, I put on my best suit. Patricia met me at the courthouse. Remember, stay calm. Don't react no matter what she or her lawyer says. Let me handle it. We walked into the courtroom. Simone was already there with Gerald. She looked stunning. Designer dress, perfect makeup, hair done. She smiled at me, like nothing had happened. Like she hadn't burned our entire life down. I looked away. The judge, a stern woman in her 60s, called the case. Gerald stood up first. He painted me as a controlling, mediocre husband who was bitter about his wife's financial success. My client has simply come into family money and wishes to move forward with her life. Mr. Hayes is making this difficult out of spite. Patricia stood. Your Honor, if I may. She submitted the evidence. The phone records. The emails. The credit card statements. The judge read through them. Her expression didn't change, but I saw her jaw tighten. Mr. Gerald, your client has been engaged in an extramarital affair for 8 months? Gerald shifted. My client's personal relationships are not relevant to Dash. They're relevant when she's planning to relocate minor children to another state to live with her paramour. They're relevant when marital funds have been used to support this affair. Simone's face went pale. The judge looked at her. Ms. Hayes, is it true you've been planning to move to Miami with your children without informing their father? Simone opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. Your Honor, it's not as simple as dash yes or no. Yes. The judge set the papers down. I'm granting temporary primary custody to Mr. Hayes. Ms. Hayes will have supervised visitation every other weekend until we can schedule a full custody hearing. The children will remain in their current school and home environment. Simone stood up. Your Honor, you can't dash. I can and I have. Furthermore, I'm ordering Ms. Hayes to pay temporary child support and maintain Mr. Hayes on the marital home as a co-owner pending the divorce settlement. We'll address property division at the final hearing. Gerald tried to object, but the judge shut him down. Your client committed adultery, planned to relocate the marital children without consent, and has demonstrated a pattern of deception. I'm not rewarding that behavior. Next case. She banged her gavel. I couldn't believe it. Simone was staring at me with pure hatred. Outside the courtroom, Patricia shook my hand. That was a good day for you. I nodded, still in shock. Simone stormed past me, Gerald hurrying behind her. I went straight to my mother-in-law's house to get the kids. When I knocked, she answered with a cold expression. They're not here. What do you mean they're not here? The judge just granted me custody. Where are they? Simone picked them up an hour ago. My blood ran cold. Where did she take them? I don't know. She was lying. I could see it on her face. I called Patricia immediately. She took the kids. She's violating the court order. Patricia's voice went sharp. Call the police. Now. I did. 2 officers showed up at Simone's mother's house. She stuck to her story. Didn't know where Simone went. But I knew. I drove to the airport. Sure enough, I found Simone's car in the parking garage. I called Patricia again. She's at the airport. She's running. Stay there. I'm getting an emergency order. The police are on their way. I ran inside. Checked the departures board. There was a flight to Miami leaving in 45 minutes. I found them at the gate. Simone was holding our daughter's hand. Our son was next to her, looking confused. Simone. She turned. When she saw me, her eyes went wide. Marcus, don't dash. You're violating a court order. The police are on their way. I'm their mother. I have every right, Dash. You don't. Not anymore. The kids ran to me. Dad. I hugged them tight. Airport security arrived first, then police. They detained Simone right there at the gate. Our kids were crying. Terrified. I got them out of there as fast as I could. That was 3 months ago. Simone was charged with custodial interference. She pled out, got probation, lost primary custody permanently. The divorce was finalized last week. I got the house. 50% of her inheritance was deemed marital property because she'd commingled it with joint accounts. $21 million. The kids live with me full-time. She gets supervised visits twice a month. She moved to Miami anyway with Terrence. Her lawyer tried to appeal. It went nowhere. I never wanted her money. I just wanted my kids. And I wanted her to understand that there are consequences for treating people like they're disposable. 17 years of marriage. She thought I was too weak to fight back. She thought wrong. I'm not mediocre. I'm their father. And I won. The first few weeks after everything settled were the hardest. The kids had questions I didn't know how to answer. Why doesn't Mom live with us anymore? When is she coming back? Did we do something wrong? That last one broke me every single time. I sat them down one night after dinner. Just the 3 of us at the kitchen table. Listen, I need you both to understand something. None of this is your fault. Not even a little bit. Your mom and I, we made decisions that hurt each other. But we both love you more than anything in this world. My daughter, she's only 7, looked at me with those big brown eyes. But if she loves us, why did she try to take us away? I didn't have a good answer for that. How do you explain to a child that their mother was so consumed with her new life, her new money, her new man, that she stopped thinking clearly? That she put her own desires above their stability? You can't. Not without making her the villain. And despite everything, I didn't want to do that to them. Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes when they're scared or confused. Your mom made some bad choices. But that doesn't mean she doesn't love you. My son, he's 10. He's sharper than I give him credit for. She chose that other guy over us. Over you. I couldn't lie to him. Yeah, buddy. She did. That's messed up. It is. But we're going to be okay. I promise you that. The truth is, I wasn't sure we would be. I was a single father now with 2 traumatized kids and a house that felt too big and too empty. Every corner had a memory. The couch where we used to watch movies as a family. The kitchen where Simone would dance while cooking Sunday breakfast. The bedroom where we'd planned our future together. I thought about selling it. Starting fresh somewhere new. But the kids had already lost so much. Their mother. Their sense of security. Their normal routine. I couldn't take their home too. So I stayed. And slowly, painfully, we built a new normal. I hired a therapist for both kids. Dr. Morrison, a kind woman in her 50s who specialized in children of divorce. She met with them once a week. At first, they didn't want to go. My daughter would cry. My son would sulk. But after a few sessions, something shifted. They started opening up, processing what had happened, learning that their feelings were valid. Dr. Morrison pulled me aside after one session. They're resilient, Marcus. Kids are amazing that way. But they're watching you. How you handle this will teach them how to handle hard things in their own lives. That hit me. Because honestly, I wasn't handling it well. I was functioning, going through the motions. But inside I was a mess. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. I'd lost 15 pounds in 2 months. I kept replaying everything in my head. What had I missed? What signs had been right in front of my face that I'd ignored? I tortured myself with it. The anger would come in waves. I'd be fine 1 minute, then something would trigger me and I'd be right back in that hallway at work, hearing her tell me to pack my things. My brother David finally sat me down. Man, you need help. Professional help. You can't keep doing this to yourself. I'm fine. You're not fine. You're barely holding it together. And those kids need you present, not just physically here. He was right. I knew he was right. So I started seeing a therapist too. A guy named Marcus, ironically. Different spelling, but still. We met twice a week at first. He asked me things I didn't want to answer. What are you most angry about? All of it. Everything she did. Everything she said. What specifically? I had to think about that. She called me mediocre. Said I was the bare minimum. Like 17 years of showing up, being present, being faithful, being a partner, like none of that mattered. Did you believe her? What? When she said those things, did you believe them? I sat with that question for a long time. I don't know. Maybe part of me did. I'm not flashy. I'm not rich. I'm just me. Maybe she was right. Maybe I wasn't enough. Or maybe she needed to believe that about you to justify what she was doing. People rewrite history when they're having affairs. They convince themselves the relationship was always bad so they don't have to feel guilty about destroying it. That made sense. But it didn't make it hurt less. The sessions helped though. Slowly, I started to see things more clearly. Simone's betrayal wasn't about me. It was about her. Her choices. Her character. Her inability to communicate or work through problems. Her willingness to blow up her family for money and a new man. Meanwhile, her supervised visits with the kids were a disaster. The first one, she showed up 30 minutes late. The supervisor noted it in the report. She spent the whole 2 hours on her phone, barely engaging with them. My daughter came home quiet. My son was angry. She didn't even care, Dad. She kept texting someone and laughing. We were right there, and she didn't care. The second visit, she didn't show up at all. Called 10 minutes after it was supposed to start with some excuse about a flight delay from Miami. The third visit, she showed up with expensive gifts. Designer clothes for our daughter. The latest gaming system for our son. Trying to buy their affection. It didn't work. My daughter left the clothes in the bag. My son hooked up the gaming system but barely touched it. Mom thinks she can just throw money at us and we'll forget, he said one night. Forget what, buddy? That she chose him over us. That she tried to take us away from you. That she lied to us about everything. He was crying. My 10-year-old son, who tried so hard to be tough, was crying. I held him. You don't have to forget anything. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to be hurt. Your feelings are real and they matter. After that night, my son asked if he had to keep going to the visits. I don't want to see her, Dad. Not right now. Maybe not ever. The custody agreement required visitation, but I called Patricia. Can he refuse? He's 10. The court will take his wishes into consideration, especially given the circumstances. Let me file a motion. The judge agreed to reduce Simone's visits to once a month, and only if both children agreed to go. Most months, they didn't. My daughter went a few times. She's younger, more forgiving. But even she started saying no after Simone missed another visit to go to some charity gala in Miami. Terrence posted about it on social media. Pictures of them in formal wear, champagne glasses raised, huge smiles. Living their best life while her kids waited for her in a supervised visitation room. The audacity was breathtaking. My daughter saw the pictures. A friend's older sister showed them to her at school. She came home in tears. She said she couldn't come because of work. But she was at a party, Dad. She lied to me. I wanted to call Simone and scream at her. To ask her how she could be so callous, so cruel. But I didn't. Because engaging with her only gave her power. Instead, I held my daughter while she cried and I promised her that people who truly love you show up. They don't make excuses. They don't choose parties over you. They don't lie. Around month 4, something shifted in me. I woke up one morning and realized I'd slept through the night for the first time in months. I made breakfast for the kids without that heavy weight on my chest. I laughed at something my son said. A real laugh. Not forced. Not fake. Real. I was healing. We all were. The house didn't feel empty anymore. It felt like ours. The three of us had created new traditions. Friday movie nights with homemade pizza. Saturday morning pancakes where the kids got to pick the mix-ins. Sunday game nights where we played board games until someone rage quit, usually me when my daughter destroyed us at Monopoly. I started dating again. Nothing serious. Just coffee here and there with women I met through friends or work. It felt strange at first. Disloyal somehow, even though Simone had checked out of our marriage long before I did. But my therapist encouraged it. You're allowed to move forward, Marcus. You're allowed to find happiness again. I met someone. Her name was Angela. She was a teacher at my daughter's school. We talked at a few parent events, but never really connected until one afternoon when I was picking up my daughter, and we ended up in the parking lot talking for an hour. She was recently divorced too. No kids, but she understood the complexity of starting over. We took it slow. Really slow. I didn't introduce her to the kids for months. And when I finally did, I was terrified. But they liked her. She didn't try too hard. Didn't try to be their mother. Just treated them with kindness and respect. My daughter warmed up to her first. My son took longer, but eventually he came around. Simone found out through the kids. My daughter mentioned Dad's friend Angela during one of the rare visits Simone actually showed up for. Apparently, Simone lost it. Called me that night screaming, "You're already replacing me? Already moving someone into my house with my kids? First of all, it's not your house anymore. Second, Angela doesn't live here. And third, you replaced me 8 months before you even asked for a divorce, so you don't get to be mad about this. Those are my children, Marcus. I have a right to know who's around them. You have supervised visitation twice a month that you barely show up for. You moved to another state with a man you were cheating with. You don't get to play concerned mother now." She hung up on me. Then she had Gerald file a motion to restrict my ability to have romantic partners around the children. Patricia laughed when she saw it. This won't go anywhere. She's grasping at straws. She was right. The judge denied it without even a hearing. Noted in the order that Simone was living with her paramour and had no standing to dictate Marcus's personal life. Another loss for her. Another reminder that actions have consequences. The money from the settlement hit my account 6 months after the divorce was finalized. $21 million. I stared at the number on my phone for a full 10 minutes. It didn't feel real. I'd never cared about the money. I just wanted to make sure she didn't get to walk away clean after what she'd done. But now that I had it, I realized it could change our lives. I paid off the house. Set up college funds for both kids that would cover any school they wanted to attend. Invested the rest conservatively. I didn't quit my job. Didn't buy a mansion or a fancy car. I wanted the kids to grow up normal. To understand the value of work and money and not take anything for granted. But I did take them on a trip. Disney World. Something we'd always talked about doing as a family, but never had the money for. Just the three of us. A week of rides and shows and character meals and staying up too late eating ice cream. My daughter hugged me on the last night and said, "This is the best trip ever, Dad." My son nodded. "Yeah, just us. It's perfect. Just us." That's what we were now. And it was enough. More than enough. We were happy. Really, genuinely happy in a way we hadn't been in years. Maybe ever. Because there was no tension. No waiting for the other shoe to drop. No walking on eggshells. Just peace. Simone's life, from what I could piece together through social media and mutual friends, was falling apart. She and Terrence had moved into that penthouse in Miami. Spent money like it was infinite. Designer everything. Exotic vacations. Private jets. But Terrence, it turned out, had expensive tastes and no income of his own. He'd sold his business for a nice chunk of change, but he burned through it fast. Started dipping into Simone's money. She let him at first, blinded by whatever she thought they had. But money has a way of exposing people's true nature. They started fighting. Publicly. Friends told me about scenes at restaurants, at parties. Her calling him a user. Him calling her controlling. Then the real kicker. Terrence cheated on her. Got caught with a 23-year-old model at a club in South Beach. Simone found out through Instagram. Someone tagged them in a photo. The irony wasn't lost on me. She'd destroyed her marriage for this man, and he'd done to her exactly what she'd done to me. She called me. 2 in the morning. I almost didn't answer. Marcus. Her voice was broken. Small. Nothing like the cold, confident woman who'd told me to pack my things. What do you want, Simone? I made a mistake. I sat up in bed. You're calling me at 2 a.m. to tell me that? I should have never left. I should have never done any of this. I miss you. I miss the kids. I miss our life. Part of me, a small part, felt satisfaction hearing her admit it. But mostly I just felt tired. You don't miss me, Simone. You miss stability. You miss having someone who actually loved you instead of your bank account. But you burned that bridge. You didn't just burn it, you nuked it from orbit. Please. Can we just talk? Can I come see you? No. Marcus Dash, you made your choice. You called me mediocre. You said you settled for me. You cheated on me for 8 months. You tried to take my kids to another state. You treated me like I was nothing. And now that your fairy tale turned into a nightmare, you want to come back? No. Absolutely not. I was wrong. About all of it. You were a good husband. A good father. I was stupid and selfish and Dash. I agree. You were. But that doesn't change anything. I've moved on, Simone. I'm happy. The kids are happy. We don't need you disrupting that. They're my kids too. Then act like it. Show up for your visits. Stop prioritizing your drama over them. Be their mother. But you and me? That's done. That's been done. I still love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of what you threw away. But you don't get to have it back. Goodbye, Simone. I hung up. Blocked her number. Went back to sleep. The next morning, I told my therapist about the call. He asked how I felt. Free, I said. And I meant it. For the first time since this whole nightmare started, I felt completely free. She had no power over me anymore. No ability to hurt me. I'd healed. We'd all healed. A year later, Angela and I got engaged. Nothing flashy. Just a quiet dinner where I asked and she said yes. The kids were thrilled. We got married 6 months after that in a small ceremony in our backyard. Just close friends and family. My daughter was the flower girl. My son walked Angela down the aisle with me waiting at the end. It was perfect. Simple and perfect and full of love. Real love. The kind that shows up. The kind that stays. The kind that doesn't bail when things get hard or when something shinier comes along. Simone didn't reach out. Didn't send a card. Nothing. She'd moved back to Atlanta after things with Terrence imploded. Burned through most of her inheritance on legal fees, bad investments, and Terrence's spending. Last I heard, she was working again. Living in a nice condo, but nothing like that Miami penthouse she'd dreamed of. The kids see her occasionally now. Maybe once every few months. They're cordial but distant. She's a stranger to them in a lot of ways. They don't trust her. And I can't blame them. Trust is earned, and she hasn't put in the work. My life now is everything I never knew I needed. A wife who respects me. Kids who feel safe and loved. A home filled with laughter instead of tension. Financial security that lets me breathe easy. Peace. Real, genuine peace. Sometimes I think about where I'd be if Simone had never made that call. If she'd never inherited that money. If she'd never revealed who she really was. I probably would have stayed. Lived in that mediocre marriage she described, never knowing I deserved better. Never knowing what real partnership looked like. So in a twisted way, I'm grateful. She freed me. Not in the way she intended. Not so she could run off with her money and her affair partner. But she freed me from a life that was never going to make me truly happy. She showed me exactly who she was. And I believed her. I'm not mediocre. I never was. I'm a good man. A good father. A good husband to a woman who sees my worth. And my kids know that love isn't about money or grand gestures or perfect Instagram photos. It's about showing up. Every single day. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Simone thought she won when she got that inheritance. Thought she'd finally escaped to the life she deserved. But she lost everything that actually mattered. And I gained everything I didn't know I was missing. 17 years of marriage. She called me mediocre. Told me to pack my things. Told me I was disposable. But in the end, she was wrong about all of it. I wasn't the one who was mediocre. She was. And now she gets to live with that. I won. Not because of the money. Not because of the custody. Not even because karma caught up with her. I won because I chose to heal. I chose to be better. I chose to build something real with people who actually value me. And that's worth more than $43 million could ever be. The years that followed brought a kind of peace I didn't know existed. Angela and I settled into a rhythm that felt natural. Easy. She never tried to replace Simone in the kids' lives. She carved out her own space. Became someone they could trust, confide in, lean on. Not a mother, but family. My daughter started calling her Angie with this casual affection that made my heart swell. My son, always more guarded, took longer. But I'd catch moments. Angela helping him with his science project. The two of them laughing at some inside joke. Him asking her opinion on things he used to only ask me about. It was happening slowly, organically, the way real relationships do. We had another baby, a son. Angela had always wanted kids, and honestly, I loved being a father. This time felt different though. There was no anxiety, no walking on eggshells, no wondering if my partner resented me or was planning an exit strategy. Just joy. Pure, uncomplicated joy. My older kids adored their baby brother. My daughter would sit with him for hours, reading stories in these elaborate voices. My son, now 13 and too cool for everything, would light up when the baby smiled at him. Dad, he knows me. Look, he totally knows me. It was the family I'd always wanted. The family I thought I had before. But this time it was real. Simone met the baby exactly once. It was at my son's 8th grade graduation. She'd made an effort to attend more events over the past couple years. Never consistent. Always last minute. But she was there that day, sitting in the back row while Angela and I sat up front with our daughter and the baby. After the ceremony, she approached us. I saw her coming and instinctively put my arm around Angela. Protective. Territorial maybe. Simone's eyes went to the baby in Angela's arms. He's beautiful. Angela nodded politely. Thank you. There was an awkward silence. Simone looked older. Tired. The expensive clothes and perfect makeup couldn't hide it. Marcus, can I talk to you for a minute? I glanced at Angela. She gave me a small nod. I stepped aside with Simone, keeping Angela and the baby in my line of sight. What is it? I just wanted to say I'm happy for you. Really. You have a beautiful family. I didn't know what to say to that. Thanks. And I wanted to apologize. Again. I know I've said it before, but I need you to know that I understand what I did. What I destroyed. I live with it every day. I looked at her. Really looked at her. There was genuine regret there. But also something else. Loneliness maybe. The kind that comes from burning every bridge and realizing too late what you've lost. I appreciate you saying that, Simone. I do. But you need to understand I've moved on. Completely. We can be civil for the kids' sake. But that's all this is ever going to be. She nodded. Her eyes were glassy. I know. I just needed you to hear it. She walked away after that. Didn't try to talk to the kids. Didn't linger. Just left. My son found me a few minutes later. Was she bothering you? No, buddy. Just saying hello. He frowned. You don't have to be nice to her, you know. Not after what she did. I put my hand on his shoulder. Being civil isn't about her. It's about me. About the kind of person I want to be. Holding on to anger only hurts us, not her. He thought about that for a second. I guess. But I still don't like her. You don't have to. You just have to be respectful. There's a difference. He nodded and ran off to find his friends. That night, Angela and I were lying in bed. The baby was finally asleep after fighting it for an hour. You okay? She asked. After seeing her today? Yeah, I am actually. I thought it might bring up old feelings, anger or hurt or something. But I just felt nothing. Maybe a little pity. Pity? She's alone. Truly alone. The kids barely know her. She has no real friends from what I can tell. She's got money, but nothing else. That's a lonely way to live. Angela was quiet for a moment. You're a better person than I would be in your position. I don't know about that. I just know that holding on to what she did would only poison my life. Our life. I refused to give her that power. She kissed me. I love you. I love you too. The next few years brought more milestones. My daughter started high school. Honor roll every semester. Volleyball team captain. Homecoming court. She was thriving. Confident in a way I'd worried she'd never be after everything with Simone. But kids are resilient, especially when they feel safe and loved. My son got into robotics, built these incredible machines that competed in state competitions. He was quiet but brilliant, focused. He'd found his thing. And watching him light up when he talked about engineering and design, I knew he was going to be okay. Better than okay. The baby, who wasn't really a baby anymore, started preschool. He had Angela's kindness and my stubbornness, a combination that led to some interesting parent-teacher conferences. But he was happy, loved, secure. Everything a kid should be. Simone faded further into the background. She moved to Charleston for a job opportunity, something with a marketing firm. The distance made visits even more sporadic. Holidays sometimes. The occasional birthday if the kids agreed to see her. They were polite but detached. She was an obligation, not a parent. My daughter told me once, during a late-night conversation when she couldn't sleep, "I don't hate her, Dad. I just don't really know her. And I don't think I want to." That's okay, sweetheart. You get to decide what kind of relationship you want with her. No pressure either way. Do you think she regrets it? Like, really regrets it? I thought about the woman at the graduation. The sadness in her eyes. Yeah, I think she does. But regret doesn't undo the damage. It doesn't rebuild trust. Some things, once you break them, they're broken forever. She was quiet for a bit. I'm glad you met Angela. I'm glad we have the life we have now. Me too, baby girl. Me too. She fell asleep on the couch that night. I covered her with a blanket and just sat there watching her. My fierce, brilliant daughter who'd survived her mother's betrayal and come out stronger. I was so damn proud of her. Work was good. I'd been promoted twice since the divorce. Turned out, not being emotionally destroyed by a failing marriage did wonders for job performance. Who knew? I was making good money. Not Simone's inheritance level, but more than enough. Combined with the settlement investments, we were comfortable. Very comfortable. But I still drove the same car. Still lived in the same house. Still taught my kids the value of hard work and not taking things for granted. Money could disappear. Character couldn't. That's what I wanted them to understand. Angela and I took the kids to Europe one summer. 2 weeks touring London, Paris, Rome. My older kids had never been out of the country. Watching them experience the Eiffel Tower, the Colosseum, the British Museum, it was magical. We made memories that would last forever. Built bonds that nothing could break. On our last night in Rome, we were sitting at this little outdoor restaurant. The kids were laughing about something. Angela had our youngest on her lap. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude. For this life. This family. This second chance I never thought I'd get. My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "Marcus, it's Simone. I'm getting married. I wanted you to hear it from me." I stared at the message for a long moment. Angela noticed. "Everything okay? Simone's getting married." "Oh, how do you feel about that?" I thought about it. Searched for any trace of jealousy or anger or hurt. There was nothing. I feel nothing. Good for her, I guess. Hope it works out this time. I deleted the message and put my phone away. Turned my attention back to my family. The people who mattered. The people who'd chosen me and kept choosing me every single day. That's the thing about betrayal. It either destroys you or it shows you what you're made of. Simone thought she was discarding something worthless when she kicked me out. Thought she was upgrading to a better life. But she was wrong. She threw away something real for something shiny. And shiny doesn't last. I didn't get here by being bitter. I got here by choosing to heal. By going to therapy. By being vulnerable with my kids about my pain while still protecting them from the worst of it. By opening my heart to Angela even when I was terrified of being hurt again. By doing the work. My son graduated high school with honors. Got accepted to MIT. Full scholarship based on his robotics achievements. The day he got the acceptance letter, he called me at work. He was crying. Happy tears. Dad, I got in. I actually got in. I'm so proud of you, buddy. You earned this. I couldn't have done it without you. Without you showing me that hard work pays off. That you can come back from anything. That hit me. Because I'd worried, in those early days after the divorce, that I was failing them. That my pain was too visible. That I wasn't holding it together well enough. But he saw strength where I'd felt weakness. He saw resilience where I'd felt broken. Kids see more than we think. My daughter went to UGA. Pre-med. Wanted to be a pediatrician. She had this nurturing spirit that reminded me of Angela. But she had my determination. My refusal to quit when things got hard. She was going to be incredible. The house got quieter with both of them gone. But it wasn't empty. We still had our youngest. And Angela and I rediscovered each other in new ways. Date nights became regular again. Weekend trips. Long conversations about dreams and plans and what we wanted the next chapter to look like. I ran into Terrence once. In Atlanta of all places. I was there for a work conference. Stopped at a coffee shop and there he was. Older. Less polished. The arrogance that had radiated off him when I'd seen him in photos was gone. He recognized me. I could see it in his eyes. The shame. The discomfort. He didn't approach me. Just grabbed his coffee and left quickly. I thought about confronting him. Asking him if it was worth it. If destroying my family for Simone's money had brought him happiness. But I didn't. Because honestly, I didn't care. He was a ghost from a painful past. Nothing more. I heard through mutual acquaintances that Simone's second marriage lasted less than 2 years. The guy left her for someone younger, wealthier. The same pattern repeating. She was alone again. Living in Charleston. Working. Existing. But not really living. Part of me felt sorry for her. A small part. Because she'd had everything. A family who loved her. A husband who was faithful and present. Kids who adored her. Security. Stability. Real love. And she'd thrown it all away chasing something that didn't exist. And now she was paying the price. But mostly I just felt grateful that I wasn't there anymore. That I'd escaped before the toxicity destroyed me completely. That I'd found real love. Real partnership. Real happiness. My youngest is 10 now. Same age my oldest son was when everything fell apart. Sometimes I look at him and think about what my other kids went through at that age. The confusion. The pain. The fear. And I'm grateful he'll never experience that. That he's growing up in a stable home with parents who actually love each other. He asked me once about Simone. Is she my sister and brother's real mom? Yes, she is. But not my mom, right? No, buddy. Angela is your mom. He nodded. Good. I like Angela. He said it so simply. Like it was just a fact. And it was. Last month was my 20th wedding anniversary with Angela. 20 years of real partnership. Real love. Real commitment. We renewed our vows. Had a small ceremony on the beach with all the kids there. My older two flew in. Made speeches that had everyone crying. Talked about what real love looks like. What real family means. After the ceremony, my daughter pulled me aside. She's 27 now. Finishing her residency. Engaged to a good man who treats her right. Dad, I need to tell you something. What's up, sweetheart? I saw Simone last week. She reached out wanting to have coffee. My stomach tightened. How did that go? It was sad, honestly. She's lonely. Really lonely. She kept asking about you. About Angela. About our family. I think she finally understands what she lost. And how did you feel about that? Honestly? Nothing. I felt nothing. She's a stranger who shares my DNA. That's all. You and Angela, you're my parents. The people who showed up. Who loved me. Who stayed? I hugged her. My brilliant, strong daughter who'd grown into an incredible woman. I'm proud of you. So proud. I learned from the best. That night, lying in bed next to Angela, I thought about the journey. From that devastating phone call 17 years ago to this moment of complete peace and happiness. It had been brutal. Painful. There were days I didn't think I'd survive it. But I did. We all did. And we came out stronger. Better. More grateful for what we had because we knew what it felt like to almost lose everything. Simone called me mediocre. Told me I wasn't enough. Made me believe for a moment that I was disposable. But she was wrong. About all of it. I wasn't mediocre. I was steady. Faithful. Present. The kind of man who builds a life worth living instead of chasing illusions. And in the end, I didn't just survive her betrayal. I transcended it. Built something better than what we'd had. Found a love that was real and lasting and worth protecting. $21 million sits in investment accounts. My kids' futures are secure. My life is comfortable. But that's not what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for the relationships. The trust. The love. The family I chose and who chose me back. Simone got her inheritance. Got her money. Got everything she thought she wanted. And she ended up alone. Miserable. Filled with regret. I got my dignity. My kids. My peace. A woman who sees my worth. A life filled with love. So yeah, I won. Not the way she thought. Not the way anyone expected. But completely. Absolutely. Undeniably. And I'd do it all over again to get here. Every painful moment. Every sleepless night. Every tear. Because this life, this family, this love, is worth more than anything she threw away. I'm not mediocre. I never was. I'm exactly who I was always meant to be. A good man. A present father. A faithful husband. And that's not just enough. That's everything. 5 more years passed. Time has a way of putting everything in perspective. My oldest son finished MIT and got recruited by SpaceX. He's doing actual rocket science now. Calls me every Sunday without fail. We talk about his projects, his life, his girlfriend who he's planning to propose to. He's happy. Grounded. Successful on his own terms. My daughter is a practicing pediatrician in Savannah. She got married 2 years ago. Her husband reminds me of myself at that age. Hardworking, kind, devoted. They're expecting their first child, my first grandchild, in 3 months. She asked me to be in the delivery room. Said I taught her what real strength looks like and she wants me there when she becomes a parent. My youngest is 15 now. Star of his high school basketball team. Straight A student. He wants to be an architect. He's already designing buildings in this software program, showing me elaborate plans for sustainable housing and urban development. Angela and I sit there watching him present his ideas with the same enthusiasm I remember from his siblings at that age. He's never known instability, never known betrayal. He's grown up watching a healthy marriage. That matters more than any amount of money ever could. Angela's father passed away last year. Cancer. It was hard on her. On all of us. But watching how our family came together during that time, how my older kids flew in to support her, how we all grieved together and held each other up, it reinforced what we'd built. This wasn't just a second marriage or a blended family. This was real. Deep. Unshakable. I got a call 6 months ago. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. Marcus? It's Simone's mother. My chest tightened. We hadn't spoken in over a decade. Mrs. Patterson. Is everything okay? It's Simone. She's in the hospital. She had a stroke. A bad one. My first instinct was panic. Then concern. Then, honestly, confusion about what I was supposed to feel. I'm sorry to hear that. Is she going to be okay? The doctors aren't sure. She's stable, but there's been some brain damage. She can't really talk. Can't move her right side. She's going to need long-term care. There was a pause. She doesn't have anyone, Marcus. No husband. No close friends. The kids won't return my calls. I felt bad for her. For Mrs. Patterson, not Simone. She was a good woman who'd watched her daughter self-destruct and couldn't stop it. I'm sorry you're going through this. I'm calling because I need help. The medical bills are astronomical. Her insurance only covers so much. I can't afford the kind of facility she needs. I know this is asking a lot, but you have resources now. Could you help? I sat there in silence, processing. The woman who destroyed my life, who called me mediocre, who tried to take my kids away, needed my help. The irony was almost poetic. Mrs. Patterson, I need to think about this. Can I call you back? Of course. Thank you for even considering it. I hung up and sat there for a long time. Angela found me on the back porch an hour later. You okay? I told her everything. She listened without interrupting. When I finished, she took my hand. What do you want to do? I don't know. Part of me thinks she deserves everything she's getting. Karma finally caught up with her. But another part, I don't know, feels like being cruel doesn't make me better than her. Angela squeezed my hand. You're not cruel, Marcus. You've never been cruel. But you also don't owe her anything. She made her choices. Those choices have consequences. I know. But what about Mrs. Patterson? She's elderly. She's already dealing with losing her daughter in a way. Should she have to go bankrupt because Simone burned through her inheritance? We talked for hours. Called the kids. Got their input. My son was against it. She doesn't deserve your help, Dad. After what she did to you, to us, she can deal with the consequences. My daughter was more measured. I don't think you should feel obligated. But I also know you. You won't be able to live with yourself if you don't help. Not because of her. Because of who you are. She was right. I called Mrs. Patterson back the next day. I'll help with the medical bills. I'll make sure she's in a good facility. But I need you to understand something. This isn't for her. This is for you. And this is the last thing I'll ever do for her. After this, we're done. She started crying. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you so much. You're a better person than I ever gave you credit for. I set up a trust. Enough to cover Simone's care for the rest of her life. Put Mrs. Patterson as the administrator. Made it clear that this was a one-time arrangement and I wanted no contact, no updates, no involvement beyond the financial support. Patricia handled all the legal work. Made sure my other assets were protected. Made sure this couldn't come back to bite me. When I told Angela what I decided, she hugged me. You did the right thing. The hard thing, but the right thing. Did I though? My son thinks I'm being weak. You're not being weak. You're being human. There's a difference. I never told Simone. Don't know if she even knows I'm the one paying for her care. Don't really care. It wasn't about her knowing. It was about me being able to look at myself in the mirror and know I did what I could live with. My daughter gave birth 3 months later. A girl. 7 pounds, 6 ounces. Perfect in every way. When they placed her in my arms, I felt this overwhelming sense of completion. This little girl, my granddaughter, represented everything I'd fought for. She'd grow up in a family that knew how to love, how to support each other, how to survive hard things and come out stronger. She'll know her grandfather as a man who showed up, who stayed, who chose love over bitterness, who built something real. Not as someone who was mediocre or disposable or not enough. As someone who was exactly enough. Always had been. The christening was beautiful. All my kids there with their partners. Angela's extended family. Friends we'd made over the years. A community of people who'd watched us build this life from the ashes of what came before. During the reception, my son pulled me aside. He'd had a few drinks. Got emotional. Dad, I need to tell you something. What's up, buddy? When I was 10, when everything happened with Mom, I thought my life was over. I thought our family was destroyed forever. I was so angry. So scared. And I watched you fall apart and then put yourself back together. I watched you choose us over your pain every single day. I watched you build this life with Angela. And that's what taught me what being a man actually means. He was crying. My 32-year-old son who builds rockets for a living was crying. It's not about never falling down. It's about getting back up. It's about doing the right thing even when it's hard. It's about loving people even when you're scared they might hurt you. You taught me all of that. And I'm sorry I gave you grief about helping her. That was you being you. And I'm proud to be your son. I held him. My boy who'd grown into this incredible man. I'm proud of you too. So proud. We stood there for a long time. Two men who'd survived the same trauma and come out the other side. That night, lying in bed, Angela asleep beside me, I thought about the full arc of it all. From that devastating phone call 23 years ago to this moment of absolute peace. It had been a journey I never asked for, never wanted, but one that shaped me into who I was meant to be. Simone thought money was the answer. Thought it would buy her happiness, freedom, a better life. But money without character is just numbers in an account. It can't buy real love, real family, real peace. She had $43 million and ended up alone and broken. I had half that amount and had everything that actually mattered. The last I heard, she was in a care facility outside Charleston. Mrs. Patterson visits her once a week. Simone's cognitive function never fully returned. She understands what's happening around her but can't communicate well. Can't walk. Needs help with everything. It's a tragedy in its own way. But it's not my tragedy anymore. My kids never asked to see her. Never expressed any desire to reconnect. They'd made peace with having a mother who chose herself over them. They'd moved on. Built lives filled with love and stability and healthy relationships. That was my victory. Not the money. Not the house. Not even the revenge of her life falling apart. My victory was that my kids were okay. Better than okay. They were thriving. I retired last year at 55. Angela retired too. We travel now. See the world. Visit the kids regularly. Babysit our granddaughter. We're planning to buy a place in the mountains. Somewhere quiet where we can grow old together in peace. We've earned it. Every bit of it. Sometimes people ask me if I ever forgave Simone. It's a complicated question. I don't hate her. I don't wish her ill. But forgiveness implies a relationship restored, and we don't have that. We never will. What I have is indifference. She's a person who once played a major role in my life and now doesn't. That's not forgiveness. It's just moving on. The kids know the full story now. Every detail. I didn't hide anything once they were old enough to understand. They deserve the truth. They deserve to know that their mother's choices weren't their fault. That love isn't supposed to be conditional. That family shows up even when it's inconvenient. My daughter told me recently that she uses my story when counseling parents going through divorce in her practice. I tell them that kids are resilient if you give them stability and honesty. That the best revenge against someone who tried to destroy you is building something beautiful from the wreckage. I like that. The idea that our pain had purpose. That what we went through could help others navigate their own storms. Yesterday was my birthday. 60 years old. Angela threw a party. All the kids came. My son flew in from California. My daughter drove up from Savannah with her husband and my granddaughter. My youngest took a break from basketball camp. The house was full of laughter and love and the sound of family. We were sitting around the table after dinner. Someone asked how Angela and I met. My youngest had never heard the full story. We told it together, Angela and I, finishing each other's sentences the way couples do after 25 years of marriage. About the parking lot conversation. The slow build. The fear I had about trying again. The patience she showed. My granddaughter, not quite 2, but already talking up a storm, climbed into my lap. Grabbed my face with her tiny hands. Papa. Just that one word. But it contained everything. Legacy. Love. Second chances. Redemption. I looked around the table at the faces of the people I loved. The family I'd built. The life I'd created from nothing but determination and faith that something better existed. This was it. This was everything. Not the money, though it helped. Not the vindication of being right about Simone, though that felt good at the time. This table. These people. This love. This was what winning actually looked like. Simone called me mediocre 23 years ago. Told me to pack my things and get out of her house. Destroyed our marriage for money and a man who eventually betrayed her the same way she betrayed me. She thought she was discarding something worthless. But she was wrong. She threw away the only real thing she ever had. And I took that rejection, that pain, that devastation, and I built a life she could never have. Not because she lacked money. Because she lacked character. She lacked the ability to see what actually matters. She lacked the strength to do the hard work of loving someone through the boring parts, the difficult parts, the parts where there's no excitement, just commitment. I'm 60 years old. I've been married to Angela for 25 years. I have 3 incredible kids and 1 perfect granddaughter. I have peace. I have love. I have everything I ever wanted and some things I didn't even know to want. I wake up every morning next to a woman who chose me and keeps choosing me. Who sees my value? Who built a life with me based on respect and partnership and real love? That's not mediocre. That's not settling. That's not the bare minimum. That's extraordinary. That's rare. That's everything. Simone lost. She lost the moment she made that phone call. She just didn't know it yet. And I won. Not because of what happened to her, but because of what happened to me. Because I chose to heal, to grow, to love again, to be better instead of bitter. 23 years ago, she told me to get out of her house. Best thing she ever did for me, because it forced me to find out who I really was, what I was capable of, what I deserved. And I found all of it, every bit of it, and more. So yeah, she called me mediocre. She thought I was disposable. She was wrong about all of it. And now she knows. Even if she can't say it, even if she can't acknowledge it, she knows. Because her life is proof. And my life is proof. And the difference between those two things tells the whole story. I'm not mediocre. I never was. I'm a man who loved his family. Who showed up? Who stayed? Who built something real? Who survived betrayal and came out stronger? Who chose forgiveness not for her benefit, but for mine? Who lived well as the best possible revenge? And that's everything.